Hi everyone, it's Molly. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. Tonight's video is going to be a little bit different. I wanted to take you through the journey of my art studio and where it started, and really just myself and how I have kind of come along and grown as I've been on YouTube as a creator and as an artist. And I started in a very small corner of my garage and I slowly took over the entire garage. But I wanted to show you some of the supplies that I have and that I use. And if you take anything else away from this video, it is that I was just as happy in that small corner as I am today creating the same artwork. It takes time, and I would just let yourself be okay with whatever you can handle or afford or space-wise get into, but just start. There is nothing better than being creative and enjoying the process itself. So this took me years and years to get to, and I hope someday that you can create the space that you love as well. But until then, just enjoy the process. So hope you enjoy the video. Let's paint. So I wanted to take you into my studio and show you some of the equipment that I have and kind of how I've built things up over the years. So I do have plastic on my floor. There's wires everywhere. I have my different, these are just Amazon Basics tripods that, because everyone sees the different camera angles that I have. So I set up my cameras, and I have one here, and then I have one overhead, and this is how I had to do this. So it may look like I've got this, beautiful overhead camera set up, but it's really just on a ladder. And this is still my garage. I've still got my, bikes and all of the other stuff that needs to be there. So I'll take you over. Now, I get people that ask all the time, are you sponsored? And do they send you all of these things? And I will tell you which things they send. So Amsterdam, I'm in love with their paint. I'm not sponsored by them. I buy it all. I buy it from Jerry's Artorama, Dick Blick, and Jackson Art Supplies. For me is where I get those big tubs. Because they don't have those at Jerry's or Dick Blick. So for white and things like that, that's where I get them. Global, which is based out of Australia, I believe, sent me those, and I haven't even really played around with them yet, and they're not based in the USA yet. They're trying to get a warehouse. And then that's my Arteza shelf there. I play around with those. I do like their metallics and their pearl paints, and I am an affiliate with them. But everything else on my shelves, that's mine. So here's my little art shelf, all my brushes, some Arteza pens down there. I use that color wheel all the time. There's like my abstract palette knives and catalyst wedges. Now down here, let me see if I can get you a better angle without hitting everything. Down there are my Jerry's Artorama Creative Inspirations, and that is the other set of paints that I love. And again, that's a proprietary blend to Jerry's Artorama. Their paints are, I love them. I really do. They react really well with the Amsterdam, and they create beautiful lacing and cells. They don't hold up so great to just paint and water, so I do add a little bit normally of Amsterdam paint in there with it, because Amsterdam's binders are so much better. But I've got some Loli Vuffy bottles back there. Here's my magnets that I make and use. So this is kind of just my catch-all. There's all my resin supplies at the back. I use KS resin. Got a bunch of stuff there. Got my satin enamels. There's some more Global. And then all my alcohol inks, which I'm going to be doing on my channel soon, are up top. and I have been experimenting with that, and that has been fun. I always have a piece of artwork that inspires me in the back, and I change them out. And I've got all my supplies that I work with on a daily basis. Got some glitter back there. And I can show you where I keep all my canvases too. So for those of you that have been with me since the beginning, I'm sure you'll recognize a lot of these videos. And to be quite honest, it always surprises me as I look back at these, just how bad they were when I first started. But everyone has to start somewhere. And so that's why I wanted to make this video. It's okay. It's painting. It doesn't matter. And yes, that is my washer and dryer in the background. So I started on a small table in my garage. That's all the space that I had. And I just knew that I loved art. I loved acrylic pouring, and I just had to get out my creativity. And so I asked my husband, we talked about it, and I created a small little space for myself in the corner. My camera angle, you can see there, it was, I think it was, I had put it up on a paper towel rack and propped it up. It's just my cell phone. I hadn't even taped off the back of my canvas, and someone bought this piece at my first art show that I did. So just goes to show, you know, people appreciate art for the art. Sometimes it doesn't matter. People ask all the time, what if my backs are messy? People just care about art a lot of times. I do tape them off now because I'm a little more conscious, but don't let anything like that ever stop you. I hadn't figured out yet even how to turn my phone around, so I had no idea what you were actually seeing on your screen because I was on the front-facing camera and I didn't know how to flip it during the middle of a video, and I had yet to start editing them. So that's what you got. This was a large piece that I did for one of my friends, and it went in their beautiful home that faced the Intercoastal. And for this video, I had it propped up again on a little table. You can see behind, I have one shelf there and a bunch of boxes, and I had cleared out the entire garage to do this piece. I still didn't have a ton of space, and I still work out of my garage now, but I've just got it a little bit more organized. I'm working on the ground. I've just got some plastic down. Let me tell you, my husband was so mad at me when I didn't put plastic down, and I painted basically the entire garage floor, and it had just been epoxied. So needless to say, it now looks like a Jackson Pollock work of art. I still do have plastic down, but let me tell you, this gets messy. So here again, you know, just get started. It doesn't matter how you do it. And if you're wanting to start a YouTube channel, or maybe you've got one going and, you know, you just maybe don't think that it's good enough, who cares? Just be present and go for it. And you never know what will happen, honestly. Some videos took off for me that I had no idea why. Watching them for me was a little bit painful. But once you really connect with your audience and they find value in what you're talking about or what you're telling them, and this doesn't have to be about art, this could be about any type of channel, they really resonate with that and they appreciate that. So here's my shelf of canvases, and again, there's my lawnmower. But the canvases, I get them from Michael's, and it may look like a lot, but I order them in bulk because they're cheaper that way. And you should see wherever you are if your art store offers that as well. So you can get 6 or 12 at a time instead of buying one canvas because they're very, very expensive. I do buy from Dick Blick as well. I love them. And yes, I purchase all of this stuff myself. The reason that I have so many is that I get commission requests for different types of paintings. And so different sizes. And so I like to be able to have them already on my shelf so that I can simply just go and pick it out and start working on it whenever I can. I've got some of my circular ones up there. And this is, I want to get into making some earrings. And so this is some clay that I'm going to be experimenting with as well. But yeah, so that's my canvas shelf. This piece was an interesting one. It's actually one of my videos that really picked up on my channel right when I was new. And this was just a simple ring pour. What I had done, I had gotten a small little table tripod that had bendable arms, and I put it facing forward on the back of my wall so that you could see this angle. And I thought that this was better than that side view, and at least it was up high so that you could see what I was actually doing. And I really love this piece of artwork that I did here. And this piece was one that sold at an art festival, Artie Gras, that I participated in my first year that I did it. And again, you know, the angles aren't great. My lighting is absolutely terrible. But I just wanted to put the camera up and talk to everyone and teach everyone what I was learning when I was going through acrylic pouring. And so again, it didn't matter. This video got quite a few views, and it wasn't professionally done. I didn't have multiple camera angles going. So do what you can when you can. And that's always been really important for me. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy a bunch of equipment or expensive editing software. Those things are great. And when you can do those things, do them. But if this is all you can do for now, I think that's perfectly fine for you to go ahead and get started. And this is all I had at the time. And so this is what I did. I really love this piece of art. The double ring pour is still one of my favorite techniques to do. So here again, I have it attached to that, I guess, what is that, particle board on the back. And you can see there's my little tripod that I had hooked up. And again, I still had no idea how to flip the camera around. My place is a mess, absolute mess. And let me tell you, I was at my happiest in my little garage, just painting my heart away. And it's so funny watching this now that this many people have seen it. And I didn't even know what I was showing you because my phone is faced towards the painting. Oh, it's so great to see how much I've learned. And I have this little table that's set up that is amidst everything else in my garage. And that is where I'm painting. And that's where my things are drying. Here, I finally got a tripod, and I could not figure out how to get a good angle still because I was still up against this tiny little table in the corner. And so, you know, this was the best that I could do at the time. And this piece was one that surprisingly, someone bought at a festival I was at in Del Rey. I did a live art painting show. And so you just never know where you can sell things or who will buy them, who will like them. So my suggestion, if you're really trying to start out as an artist, look around locally and see if there's anything. It doesn't have to be a big show, but look around locally and see if there's some small events that maybe you can put 1 or 2 pieces in, maybe get into someone's, you know, hair salon or a place like that. Just get out there and start making connections, and you'd be amazed at some of the people that would love to hang your artwork in their place. So now I have a table and I'm facing the other way, and I have actual drying racks now. And that blue painting that's in the back is actually covering up
the electrical box, the breaker box that's outside in my garage. So thought that was a handy little trick at the time.
This is my shelf that I use all the time. So it's got all my different pouring mediums. Now, we created an acrylic pouring course, and so in order to test them out and to tell everyone about them, I had to buy all the different mediums. But really, I just use this one in the back, which is the Creative Inspirations polymer gloss medium and varnish. When I'm doing cells with silicone, I use the Glue All. And then there's the Liquitex gloss medium varnish. It looks a little bit different now. They changed their labeling. There's all my butane for my torches, some of my spray paints, all my glitter, and all my crushed glass that I dye with alcohol ink. And then there's my resin shelf down below. So again, this has been built up over years. Took me 3 years to accumulate all this stuff. And I used to give group classes, and so I bought a lot of this stuff in bulk. And then with the state of the world at this point, obviously I'm not doing those anymore. Always have a fire extinguisher when you are working with flames. Over here, that's my pillow that I rest myself on when I'm doing work on the floor. I've got my skins here that I'm drying, and then I'll put those in some cellophane wrappers to keep for more magnets and things like that. Hi everyone, it's Molly. I wanted to do another colander pour, smaller and in metallic, so I was taking the recommendations of some of the viewers, so that's what I'll be doing tonight. Thought it had been a while since you saw my face, so hello.
So look at how uncomfortable I was talking to the camera. And that just comes with time, getting better at basically talking to no one, but talking to everyone. This piece that I'm doing was a colander pour. And it was one of, I think it was like my 3rd time doing it. And little did I know that this technique would take off, and the results were absolutely beautiful. So if you are at that point where you've done the regular flip cups and ring pours, look around for some interesting pouring tools. Look around to kind of push yourself and to really challenge yourself to create something that is unique and not the same. If you feel like you're getting into a rut, you can always try something different, and you might be surprised. It might come out to be something that you really, really like. Especially for acrylic pouring and fluid art videos, every time something new comes out, it really does well. A new design, a new technique, even a new artist. It's always great to have something fresh and new in the community. And so that's why it's great to always just kind of experiment and really have fun with it and play around. Here I'm on a tiny little table in the middle of the garage because I really wanted that overhead view, and I wanted to be able to have my camera on the other side so that I could see what was actually being shown. So here I can actually see that I'm showing you the appropriate thing, which works out way better. Know your equipment, right? Took me a long time to learn it. Here I finally had some shelving set up. And can you see in the background, the shelves are almost falling over at this point. They're plastic. They were like $40, I think, from Lowe's. And it's all I had. And every video, every month when I would make money from YouTube, I would just reinvest it back into my art. When I would sell pieces, I would buy new shelving, I would try out new tripods. I finally bought some extra lighting to go in the garage because a lot of times I would paint when it's dark. But again, do those things when you can. The videos that you're watching today, this is years and years of me saving up to actually buy these things. And so, if you're not there yet, it's totally okay. People will still watch. Here, I even decided, maybe this will be a good idea. I put up a black sheet behind so that it would not draw your eye away from all of the junk that I had behind it in my garage. I did not keep that for very long because it did not work out. And also when you have a lot of dark material, so like my table was black, the curtain behind it was black, it also changes the exposure of your video. And so I did away with that really quick. And now you'll even see in my newer videos that I put white paper down on the table. So the table is the same, it's black, but I have white paper down so that I don't change my exposure that much. All of these little things that I've learned over the years, hopefully they're helpful to some of you if you're just starting out. And you'll notice from all of these videos, I am still just using one camera, one phone, one tripod, and I really very minimal editing. I finally got U-Cut on my phone because I actually didn't know how to get videos from my phone to my computer to do any type of editing. So I did all editing on my phone. It took me about 10 or 15 minutes, and I thought I was doing pretty good to actually cut these videos. And that's really all U-Cut could do at the time was, you know, very small cuts and basically put the video back together for you. Here was the first time I bought my shelves that you see in my videos now. And you can see they are much more bare than they are now. I've accumulated so many items. I had new lighting. I had just really decided, you know what, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to revamp everything and clean it up because I work so much better and I'm more creative in a clean space. And I just wanted to, you know, just kind of really feel like I was organized. My lighting still, I hadn't brought forward, and so there's a ton of shadows. And again, doesn't matter. Just get out there and get creating. You can see I'm a lot more animated and I'm much more comfortable on the camera as well. So it just comes with time. This is my table of leftover paints, and I save them. I scrape them off the table. I make new batches if I know that I'm going to be doing a couple of commissions. So all these containers with the lids are in my Amazon store. And the one thing I would say, is to make sure that you scrape the sides before you put the lid back on, because the air that's trapped in there will dry it and you'll get clumps. But I love these to keep my paints in. And so people say, oh, well, you wasted a lot. Well, no, I scrape it back off and I put it over here. And some of them have labels, like that's Australian Floetrol, my leftovers, so that I know these over here on this side, they have more pouring medium in them. These over here, just paint and water. Yeah. This piece, because I had been inspired and really wanted to just be creative, I started my rainbow series. And this was one of, I believe, 11 videos that I did where I tried out different colors and different combinations and created this rainbow series. So the red base was my very first one. This was also around the time that I started doing paint and water Dutch pours and using Amsterdam paints. And again, I love this brand of paint, but it took me a long time to be able to purchase them and to really, stock my shelves with what I want. People ask quite often, do you get sponsored for these things? And I don't. I purchase everything myself except for the Arteza products because I am an affiliate with them. But all my Amsterdam, my Floetrol, everything I purchased myself. And it's just, it just takes time.
This over here is my prep table where I put my canvases that I'm about to work on and that I've already taped off the backs. I'm going to do a video on a spin the wheel. These are some canvases that I really just want to work more on. That black one in the back is going to be the one that I paint to show everyone how I do the painting that's behind me in the beginning of my videos. There's all my paint stands. Those are in my Etsy store. And then these are my containers. So I reuse almost all my containers. So what I do is I let them all dry with the stick in them, and then I can peel this out. And I can't do it right now while I'm on camera, but because I only have one hand, but those then get reused over and over and over again.
This was the big moment. This was my first video that I edited with Premiere Pro. And a couple of my friends had talked to me about getting this program, and I had no idea what I was doing. No idea at all. And I bought extra tripods. I bought 3 old used phones, and that's how I have my setup now, is using those old phones. I hadn't even taken into account that I would be close to the camera, and so it kept auto-focusing on me. The video itself took about 3 days to edit. I didn't even know how to open the program and download the files into it. My overhead camera I have up on a ladder, and I still do that to this day because I couldn't find an arm long enough for it. So it just goes to show, what you see is not exactly what it is when I'm actually filming. But the program that I was using was so foreign to me. It was so new and different. And I thought, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this if it takes me days to edit a video. But I got much more used to it, and I'm pretty efficient at it now. It takes me about 45 minutes to an hour and a half to edit a video, get all the files together, color correct my different angles, and get the music that I want, and if I'm voicing it over. There are so many parts that go into it now that I just had never thought about. But if anything, I hope that this video just shows you that you can do this, and it doesn't have to be professional when you start. And I'm nowhere near professional now. I'm still learning. I'm still going through the process and, getting the equipment that I want. But, the audience is there for you, and they help you through it. Listen to them. They tell you what they want to see. Take the constructive, feedback and really use it to your advantage. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this little walkthrough of kind of the evolution of my filming of my YouTube videos and kind of how my studio has changed. And if you take anything out of this, I hope that it is just, I started painting because I loved it, and I still paint because I love it. So don't worry about anything else. If you're doing a YouTube channel, you will get there. Just keep being true to yourself and keep doing what you love, and hopefully the viewers will follow.
My process now is that I use these lights. I actually like that light better than this light now, just because it softens it a little bit, but these are just regular photography lights. I use my regular phone, that is mine, but I also bought refurbished phones. You can get them for like $100, $200. Let me see if this is gonna focus. And I just put those right in, and then I edit them using Premiere Pro with all the different angles. But you don't have to buy like $500, video equipment. If you want to, I'm sure you can, but you don't have to. So my lights were off Amazon. All my stands were off Amazon. My phones were off eBay. Like, I tried to do this as cheap as I possibly could.
This is my drying table and where I varnish my pieces. So I make quite a few videos at a time, and I like to have enough space. And sometimes they're even on the floor and, everywhere to kind of sit. And then once they have cured, I take them inside and hang them, or once they've dried, I take them inside and hang them on the wall until they cure in my back bedroom. So my house is filled with art. So I hope that you enjoyed this little tour, and that corner over there was where I started. And this is where I've migrated to. Some people ask me as well, because I'm out in my garage, this is not temperature controlled. They ask about whether the paints keep or not. And technically they should be at a little less of a temperature because I'm in Florida, but I keep them out of the sunlight. The only sun that comes in is through that window to the side. So I try to keep them out of the sunlight. For sure, my resin is all the way over on the other side so that it's not in the sunlight. And I've only had one can of something pop open and splatter, and that was a can of stainless steel that I was working with, stainless steel paint. So I hope that you enjoyed this. This video was really about, just letting yourself be okay with whatever area you're in until you can find something better. I had just as much fun working, on the side table and on the ground as I do now. And I have only just over the past probably year and a half really gotten this space to what I want. So if if you're just starting out and you can only pour on a table or something like that, it's okay. That's totally fine. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Happy painting. Bye.